Can you start off by saying your name?
I'm Cathy. Hi.
Cathy, where's home for you right now?
Right now it is Queen's University of Charlotte.
And where were you born?
So I was born in Florida in, what's something you'd know? Miami area, yeah. And then we moved up here when I was like 5.
And how long have you been in the Charlotte area for?
Well, I grew up in Waxhaw, which is about 40 minutes, but we would come up here. I mean, I would say for a large portion of my life, maybe like 16 years, but like actually being in the Charlotte area, that would be maybe 3.5 years.
And being in Charlotte during the pandemic, what was that experience like for you?
It was interesting because I was outside of Charlotte mostly for the start of it. It was insightful, and then just like seeing how kind of our world changed and how adaptations were made when people had to mask, and then going to a grocery store or even going like shopping. Like it was just interesting seeing the differences. I can expand if you want. Do you want me to expand?
No, you're fine. What year did you graduate high school?
So I graduated 2020, and then essentially COVID hit 2020, that end half of 2019. So I didn't get to finish my senior year as a traditional student. Everything went online, and then we were lucky enough to have graduation. It wasn't expected, but we did. And then my first semester of college was online due to COVID.
Was graduation in person or online?
So we kind of did both. We didn't think we were going to have in person. We just did kind of like an online presentation thing, and then we did like a drive-by. But then like later in the summer, a couple months like after graduation was supposed to be, we did have an in-person graduation. Everybody was like 6 feet apart, and we followed protocol, but it was nice.
And what do you remember of the early days of COVID? What did you do during the lockdown?
During lockdown, let's see. Gosh, I was a different person back then. That's so funny. I spent a lot of time with my family, of course, because that's really the only people you could hang out with. But I would cook with them. I would clean. I'd try to find hobbies like watch TV, or I learned to skateboard, which I don't do now because I don't have time. I learned how to crochet and just a bunch of other stuff. And then in my neighborhood, since everybody was quarantined, I did see some friends, but it was the same 2 people every week, so it was all right.
I remember that period of time where it was like you felt bad for hanging out with people because
that's so crazy, yeah.
Yeah, like where have they been, all that stuff, like it's crazy.
Oh my god, it was just like very watchful, It was like, well, what were you doing, and who have you seen, and who has your family seen, and that kind of that scare of just even coming in contact with anybody with COVID was ever present. But as kids we're a little looser on the morals, so we would still figure out ways to see each other, but be cautious and safe about it.
Yeah. So describe your experience going to school during the pandemic. Did you have to wear a mask? And this kind of just goes into like college, since you weren't able to go back in high school. Mm-hmm. What was it like for you to go in person in college?
Well, first off, college, big step for any person. I think I was just grateful to be around people. I'm in the healthcare system, so I'm pro mask and pro vaccine. So I think that wearing the mask wasn't all a big thing for me, right? I was just excited to see people, just to see people my age who've gone through the same things, and just being able to kind of have that interpersonal connection. So wearing a mask or standing 6 feet apart wasn't anything too crazy or drastic.
And did you struggle with social distancing requirements at school?
Oh, 100%. Because I mean, you're meeting people, you're having fun, you want to show them your dorm, and you've got a dorm, which is like this crazy unexpected thing, and you're meeting new people. So social distancing was definitely difficult. But I think one thing that was really good was like I lived in Hayes, and it's more of an old school style dorm. So what was good about it was we would have this open door policy. So if you would walk by and our door was open, you could always drop in and say, hey, and like we would keep our distance, but we would just always have our doors open unless, you were like doing work or something, you had the door closed and someone would know, hey, don't bother them. So the social distancing was hard because you're trying to be social, but it was doable, you know, and we would spend a lot of time outside, which was great during the spring semester with the sun out, just like it is now. So.
Have your friendships or family relationships changed at all during the pandemic?
I mean, like familially, I definitely think that my family's gotten more comfortable with technology. They've definitely learned some new tricks, and I think that they're more aware of like other situations and what can and can't be done. And then with my friends, I think we've grown stronger bonds because I think distance makes the heart grow fonder. So like the less you see people, the more you appreciate and value them. So I'm very, very grateful that it kind of put relationships into perspective.
Nice. What effects has the pandemic had on your learning experience? Do you feel behind or ahead now that you've returned back?
That's a good question. I definitely think it has shown me just how much I love the classroom because I am one of those people who, when it comes to studying, I love learning, love class, love that interaction between students when professor says something and we're all confused, we give each other a look, then we discuss it a little bit, talk about it, and then you finally get to the answer. I think that was just not even present, incredibly lacking with that online platform. So I don't necessarily think I'm behind because obviously I still put in the work and the effort, but I do think that I am very aware of how I am as a learner. So something that would help me during the pandemic and doing the online platform was watching a lot of videos or even just discussing it with someone else in the class through like FaceTime or anything, because that interpersonal relationship is what helps cement information for me.
Definitely. And now that the pandemic it hasn't gone away, but slowed down, mm-hmm. do you like in-person classes or do you like online classes at all or just like in person?
I mean, honestly, right now I've got a good balance, I'd like to say, but I think for classes that I'm genuinely interested and are of a higher rigor, I definitely like those in person. But for classes that can be a little more versatile, can be, I don't know what the word is, but that aren't in my major, for example, I don't mind having those in online because I do feel like it's still a good learning platform and accessible for those who need it. And I think it's definitely beneficial if you've got a busy schedule. Like, for example, like at one point I was working with 3 jobs and in school and doing all this stuff to just stay afloat. So I think that those online classes definitely helped with my schedule and being able to complete those assignments. So, I mean, I like both. Yeah. I'm more partial to in-person, but I like both.
Yeah. What did you miss the most during the pandemic?
What did I miss the most? I don't know, I think just seeing people, or at least people that I knew, right? Because with the pandemic, everybody was going outside, going for walks, and really enjoying nature, which I think was very much needed. Even I needed that. Like, I didn't realize just how much I was missing out. And I think I just missed my friends and my family and just, you know, having that freedom here that I think as Americans we take for granted. So having that freedom to just kind of go outside and then go for a drive and then go see people and do whatever activity you want. I missed that.
Was there a time you stepped in to help someone affected by COVID-19?
Can you expand on the question?
Did anybody in your family have COVID or any of your friends and you had to like bring them food or take them anywhere? Like, were you ever...
Gotcha. Yeah, there was a point in time where there was a family member of mine that had COVID, and we would like send them a care package, which was cool. And then we just always try to monitor them and like call them and see how they're doing, and like even do the thing where like you drive by in the car and they're at home, you do a little wave, you know. So that was good. Yeah.
Have you ever had COVID or anybody in your immediate family have COVID?
So yeah, I had COVID last summer actually, which was the first time I ever contracted it, and it was funny because myself, my mom, my dad, we all got it and we were all living together, but my grandma didn't, which I am so grateful for because abuela didn't need COVID. Yeah, it was a two week span where I was just with my family 24/7, which was, you know, phenomenal in the beginning, but towards the end, you know, everybody's getting a little stir crazy.
Has the pandemic change your normal routines?
Not at all. That's so weird. I mean, now I do value nature more and being outside and kind of taking that fresh air. But that's also due to like the people I've met here and like what I've learned in college. But I don't really think it's changed my. I mean, obviously, I'm like more cautious with like people who are infected or anything like that, or I'm just more like aware of like, oh, like this food, like did anybody touch it? Where did it come from? This, that, or oh, did everybody wash their hands? I'm like, does anybody need hand sanitizer? I currently always have hand sanitizer on me, or like when I go to the gas station and pump gas, I'm like, is this clean? You know, I guess it's just more. It hasn't really changed my like routine, but I do think it's changed my thought process.
What are some long-lasting consequences of the pandemic?
Long-lasting consequence. I think that kind of I think like socially, like wearing a mask, I think is not a consequence, but I do think that it has arisen certain questions within people and like why they're needed or why they're not. And I think that kind of just shows you a little bit more about the person and their beliefs and what they choose to do. So I think as a consequence or byproduct is that you kind of just get to know a little bit more about a person and their actions and how they carry themselves. So like during the height of the pandemic, when I saw people in my high school still hanging out and throwing parties, that would just show me about their character and show me their values, which I think is not a consequence, but it's just enlightening to see.
That's true. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't that wild?
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, it's so. I know it's hard, but it's hard for us all. So can we please just wait it out a couple months? We'll get there and see we're here and everybody's hanging out again. And all it just took was some time.
Yeah, it's hard. What are some good things you've learned through your experience during the pandemic?
Flexibility, adaptiveness, enjoying the little things. You know, I definitely, I think with hustle culture and everything, we got used to the routine of just go, go, go. But, you gotta stop and smell the roses. You gotta go for a walk. You gotta enjoy being able to like hug your friend when you see them. You gotta enjoy cooking a good meal together or just those small things that like that mindfulness of just being present in the moment, because I think COVID kind of stood us all to a halt and we had to be present, because if not, we would go stir crazy because it's like, I have to do all these things, but I can't go outside and I can't do that. So it was just, centering, grounding of just, coming back to that foundation and being able to just vibe, I guess.
You feel bad for saying like that, even though the time was actually terrible, like the time was, it gave everybody a time to relax. Like I think do absolutely nothing.
I think it's definitely a silver lining, right? Mm-hmm. Because so many atrocities have happened in this world and so many epidemics, pandemics, wars, anything like that. And even with all of those horrible incidents, I think there was still joy, right? There was still looking for that light, looking for that sun, which brings us back to where we are now, right? So with I mean, there's just like this old saying that I always remember that's like something along the lines of like a poor person will always lend out a helping hand because they understand and they've been there and they can see that joy and see how they impact others. So I think with COVID and quarantine and all that, even though it was this horrible thing that shouldn't have happened, I think there was still joy in the world and there was still happiness, and you could find a silver lining and be appreciative and grateful for what you have.
And what was the process like transitioning over time as restrictions and recommendations have come and gone?
It was exciting. It was like you finally got to lower your windows down in the car and the sun's shining and you're just excited to get back to it all. You're excited to, you're still mindful and still cautious, but you're still, that newness, that refreshing, oh my God, I'm going to go to a movie theater and go see a movie. And it brought back that joy, that childish wonder that everybody, I think, has hidden deep inside.
And how has your life changed since March 2020?
Wow, we are in March 2023. Wow, 3 years. It's taken a minute to, look back on that. My life has changed by, I don't know. I think COVID, as bad as it was, put me in the place where I'm meant to be. So definitely a strong believer that there's a reason for everything. So COVID brought me here, and quarantine and being stuck with my family for a really long time brought me here, and I'm just happy, grateful that I am where I am now. But yeah, just excited, excited to experience the journey of life.
What do you think your future will look like?
Oh, great question. No, I think my future is going to be interesting because I have recently, through being Queens and just even quarantine, I realized that life isn't going to be the journey that you thought it was, but it'll still be a journey. You could take the path less traveled. You take the path that has the most people on it. You could, go to a back road. Who knows, So I think life for me now is just going to be whatever opportunities will come to me, I think I'll just follow them. And I know that I want to go into the medical field, and I know that I want to explore the world, and I'm just excited to do that, however way that comes to me.
Working in the medical field, are you still wary of COVID? Or are you still kind of scared of it?
So it definitely took the medical field to kind of lessen on the masks a little bit longer and that distancing. I think it's ultimately helped with making sure that there's not too many people being overworked, or that there's not too many patients in one room, or anything like that. But I think it's been a learning experience for the medical field. And I mean, for me, I haven't really been affected because I work in an ophthalmologist office. The only thing is, when there's older patients, they tend to keep their masks on. Just recently, literally just a week ago, we got to take off our masks, which is so nice because now I can see my patients' faces, and I can talk to them and have that relationship and see them smile or whatever they've got going on. But yeah.
So important. Do you have any additional stories or experiences to share about your experience with COVID-19?
I don't know. I think it created some fun stories. Just in general, just silly little things that wouldn't happen normally because of social distancing and wearing a mask or anything. So I think I don't really have any certain stories, but I do know that its byproduct has been a lot of fun, a lot of childish wonder, as I said earlier, just rediscovering new things that you once took for granted. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's all.
Awesome.
Thank you.